All right. There he is. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm okay. Have better days, but I'm still in the fight. That's what I'm talking about.
That's all we can do, bro.
Yeah, man.
You can't give up, bro. Giving up isn't an option whatsoever.
How you been?
Good. We're at the casino here in Hialeah, so we having a good time.
Okay.
Yesterday, did you have a good time in the Tua Tagovailoa press conference?
I you know what? It was a very odd space for me because I haven't been back in the Dolphins press conference in months. It was good to be well received. A little odd the Tua statement and all the controversy that it created. I don't think people get the fact that I've been in locker rooms for 15 years. You know what that nature of ribbing and jokes is like in the locker room. And fortunately for me, I've always been viewed as one of the guys, so I got that kind of nature ribbing. So it doesn't make a difference to me. But a lot of fans took it as Tua hate for me, which they didn't.
Well, it's just one of those things. And for those of you that don't know, so yesterday while Omar was at the press conference, Tua recognized that Omar was there. He was back in the mix. So this was Tua's response to Omar when he saw Omar there at the press conference. Go ahead, Sean Stanley.
They let you back in? Dang, my man. Okay. Good to see you.
Damn. Listen, they didn't see when Xavier gave me a hug and was like, "Yo, bro, good to see you back," and Tua at the end of the press conference said, "Hey, man,
we know you and Xavier were boys. We already knew that one.
We're boys.
We've established
Why
that one. We've established that one here on the show many times over.
Why are you saying we're boys?
You're his second agent, David Canner, and then you're like the assistant agent for Xavier Howard.
I have no idea what you're talking about. But let's continue to move on.
And for those of you that don't know, because you might be catching up, okay. So Omar obviously has stirred it up because of the whole Tua thing. So when he was leaving the beat, okay, and he was on X's and Omar with Dave Hyde, he stirred it up again with the whole Tua thing. And I think that's why Tua was having fun with him. Go ahead, Sean. Fire away. Here we go.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about.
Here we go.
Okay.
And so if you can, Sean, can you pull up the X's and Omar excerpts?
They're not interesting. You just think they're juicy. Go ahead. Tell me what
juicy, interesting, insulting, twisted, weird. I don't know, however you want to call it, but you had a very colorful way of describing the franchise quarterback of the Miami Dolphins. Sean, if you can, please pull it up.
Couples counseling right now. We need a little couples counseling. I don't like the way you lead. You have to do a better job as a leader. You have to do a better job. Tua, I'm out the door now. Tua's a weirdo. His teammates look at him as a weirdo, and it's okay to be a weirdo, but you can't just be a weirdo and not connect with your team. You have to be a weirdo, but still find a way to connect with your team.
All right, so you've changed your point of view on that, right?
I stand by every single word I said. I stand by every single word I said. Weirdo might be a little bit harsh, but Tua's a little odd. Tua's a little odd. You will acknowledge that, right?
No, we're odd. He's normal. That's the part that you don't understand. We're the odd ones. He's actually way more normal than the rest of us. We actually should act more like Tua, be more decent like Tua. The rest of us, we do all kinds of crazy shit. That dude is a good dude. He's just a good human being, bro.
He's a phenomenal dude.
Exactly. So there's nothing weird about him.
No, he's a little bit.
No. My brother Antonio Brown is a weirdo.
That would be how I
Kanye
describe
West
Antonio Brown.
is a weirdo.
Who?
Ryan Leaf was a weirdo.
No, Ryan Leaf was a druggie.
Well, whatever. He weirdo. He was a weird. He was screaming at a reporter for no reason at all. The guy was a weirdo.
That's a totally different.
But that's weird.
Tua's
Antonio
unique.
Brown is weird. That's
Even
weird.
going back to Alabama, his teammates would describe him as unique. He's a little different. Let's acknowledge that.
Yeah, you know why he's different?
No.
See, the thing is, we have a problem with the Tony Gwynns and the Cal Ripkins and the Derek Jeters and the Tua Tagovailoas and the Tim Tebows. We have a problem with people that carry themselves in a perfect fashion. We think they're weird when it's really we're the weird ones. Those people are the normal ones. They're the ones that know how to act like decent human beings in every way, shape, and form in any situation. They handle it like gentlemen. And it's not what you and I do. We lose our cool. We say things we regret. We say things that hurt other people. We do not keep our cool at times. We do not handle things the right way. We criticize the perfect people like Derek Jeter. We criticize the boring people like Cal Ripken. It's just something that we do. Tim Tebow, he's not weird. He's just super normal, bro. We're just not, and maybe a little more religious than most of us. Okay, that part, yeah. But he's just a really decent human being in every situation. That's something that you and I struggle with. Most human beings struggle to be decent human beings or do things the right way in every situation. These kind of people do it all the damn time. And that's what's odd to us.
Maybe. I mean, I would never deny the fact that I'm a weirdo too. I'm a little different. As are you.
Yes.
I guess I'm looking down on Tua because he tries to be extremely normal.
Because it's easy for him to do it. That's what pisses all of us off. That these kind of people, they know how to handle, like Tony Gwynn, bro. When did you ever see him lose his cool? Like Cal Ripken. Like Derek Jeter lived in New York, bro. Went out with all kinds of women. Yet everyone else that's in New York that's famous gets in trouble, picks up the wrong women, hangs out with the wrong people. Yet Derek Jeter every single time handled it perfectly. And he was boring to people. But that's kind of we're an odd society, bro. We treat weirdos wrong or weirdly or whatever, and then we treat really normal people like they're weird because deep down inside we all wish we could be just like them and handle everything so damn perfect every
Okay, so where does Ryan Tannehill fit in this whole conversation? Because
Ryan Tannehill's Ryan Tannehill's a terrific young man. That's never changed.
You're portraying it as
he's just never going to be a franchise quarterback.
Right is normal.
But Tua does things right, but he's exceptional at being a quarterback. Tannehill will never be exceptional.
Okay. This whole conversation. That's not his fault. I mean, this whole conversation.
That's a whole different conversation. I just feel like we treat people that handle everything the right way. We don't treat them fairly.
Let me ask you this question. Okay, and I wrote a column, basically saying that what you confess to or disclose to the world, which is that you considered retirement, you should have never said under any condition.
He didn't really consider retirement.
I know. I heard your spiel.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily agree. He discussed it. He thought about it. He let half a second.
He gave it to you all to entertain yourselves with it. And he said, "Yeah, I entertained it. I talked with my family about it and all that." That guy was never ever quitting. That was never in his mind. He never questioned it. He was never leaving football. What he did was entertain it for his family and his wife and everybody else that was going to ask him. But he was never going to quit at no time. He just fed the bullshit to you guys on that. I don't think you listen to him. He catches himself.
You cannot feed us the bullshit. You can't.
He did.
I did, which is what makes him weird. You cannot feed us the bullshit.
And that guy was never going to quit. That guy was never even.
I know he wasn't, which is why it was preposterous for him to say, "I thought about it."
Because I think it's the question, since it was going to be asked, and because so many.
You know that was going to be asked. You prepped for it, and you said in your mind, the good thing to say is, "I thought about it."
So many of the phonies out there, like they actually really give a shit about him and they care about his health and all that bullshit, which is all a bunch of crap.
Well, why would you give them something? Why would you give them fuel?
Because it kind of puts it to rest already, since everybody's talking about, we had that discussion. I discussed.
No, it doesn't. Now, anytime he gets injured again, injured again, it's going to be, he considered retirement before. Are we going to retire now? Is it time for Tua to, every time he suffers a concussion for the next 10 years, is it time for Tua to retire?
Why is he going to suffer another concussion? Maybe he'll never suffer another one again. This was only 1 year in his career where he had a bunch of these issues. That's it.
You're correct.
So why are we assuming this?
I mean, but we could go the Trent Green scrambled eggs scenario where
we could. We
don't know.
We could end up with Steve Young, and but then again, we could end up with
concussions get Steve Young.
Yes, Lawrence Phillips actually killed him on the last one. They needed a running back. They signed him coming back from NFL Europe. He had 1,000 yards. He missed a block. That was the last hit that Steve Young took. Lawrence Phillips retired Steve Young. He could be Sidney Crosby, who's had 6 or 7 of them and has a Hall of Fame career and championships.
We discussed that today on the podcast. I'm curious, at what point in his career did Sidney Crosby have those concussions, and then
all throughout. Ask Poop. Poop knows more hockey than you and I will ever know put together. Ask him. He's had several concussions throughout his career. Sidney Crosby's been dealing with concussions since the beginning of his career all the way through.
You know what's something that
that dude Chris Nowinski. He said the key, because he's an expert at that stuff. He says the key and why Sidney has had such a long career, it's because any concussion that he's had, he's given it time to rest and kind of dissipate and go away. What we can't do is what we saw this year, where you play him and then 4 days later he plays again. That's the kind of shit you got to avoid.
You know what? Something, and I'll have this conversation with you because it's a safe space here. I have battled migraines for the past 2 years.
Me too. I had them too when I was young, but I had polyps in my sinuses, and they got rid of the polyps, and I got rid of my migraines. Check for polyps in your sinuses. That's what was giving me migraines when I was young.
Thank you for that tip. But I've thought about it. Okay, let's suppose after Green Bay, tough hit. You wake up next day, you got a migraine. You got a little bit of brain fog, what we all deal with in migraines. And I'm not saying it's not related to the hit, but how are we, and I'm not excusing it or saying that, CTE or this isn't a dangerous sport. How do we know for certain that what Tua isn't experiencing isn't related to something else?
I mean, now you're reaching, bro. We're not doctors.
I'm just saying.
I know, but you're assuming stuff now that we don't even know if there's any truth to it. If that's, the case, we don't have any access to his health. We're not doctors. So
how do they tell the difference between concussion effects or a player? Dwayne Wade had migraines, or maybe Dwayne Wade fell too hard on the floor too many times and gave him. How do we know? How do we know these things?
They go to medical school, Omar. They figure those things out. Like I just told you, I had migraines when I was a kid, and when I went to get checked out, they found polyps in my sinuses. So they eliminated the polyps, and since then I've never had migraines again. I've had a couple bad headaches, but not like I used to when I needed to be in a dark room with Tylenol codeine. I remember I used to take a lot back in the day, and I would have to be in a dark room, God, for hours. Hell, I remember I used to put Vicks Vapor Rub on my forehead.
Did that?
Yeah, do Vicks Vapor Rub on the forehead and the sinuses, and that would be one of the things that would help me relieve my migraine.
Sunglasses in the room. Like, how do we know?
Yeah.
Like, how do we know these things different than we do? Yeah, you take a CT scan at the beginning of training camp, and you do a baseline brain activity test at the beginning of training camp. But how do you know what you're suffering from those headaches isn't related to something else?
Neurologists will figure it out, my brother. I mean, that's why they go to school, and I'm sure also when you suffer head trauma, there's got to be, effects from something like that. And then when you have headaches, it's something different, so they'll again, that's why those people go to school, to figure that crap out. You and I aren't smart enough to do that.
I remember Jimmy Donaldson in school. His son plays for the University of Miami offensive line. He hit me one time, playing football, knocked me out, gave me a big old fat cocoa on my head, concussion. And I was just like, and I was never the same since. And I'm like, that's one concussion in like when I was 10. That it's weird.
Yeah, it definitely is. You pick up anything from the Greer Marvin Allen part of the press conference yesterday?
Yeah, plenty of stuff. The depths that they went to really convince themselves that Chosen Anderson was the right route to go. That was very.
I thought that was interesting that they spent that much time with a guy who I don't think he's even going to make the team.
He's a good player. If he buys in, trust me. I know Chosen. I've talked to him. I've dealt with him. I have been convincing him not to come to Miami for the last 2 years because he's wanted to be here for a very long time. Trust me, if he buys in,
he's got talent.
He's a talent. He's a smarter guy than people give him credit for. He's South Florida, bleeds South Florida, loves the Dolphins. And
to his credit, lately he has stayed away from the knuckleheaded things that he's done in the past. So hopefully he has learned. But to be honest, unless Cedric Wilson is moved, unless there are some injuries, I don't see him making this roster.
Oh my God, he's the number 3 receiver on this team right now.
He has no shot at making the roster right now unless those things happen.
You are sadly mistaken,
brother. They're not going to count on the unreliable.
When has he been unreliable?
Throughout his entire career, he's been unreliable because he's done a bunch of dumb things off the field at times.
I'm not factoring in the off-field thing.
Oh, you got to factor on-field, off-field. That's the way it is. It's been an up and down.
Does Mike McDaniel look like he's going to have a problem coaching a character?
It's not McDaniel that I'm worried about. I'm worried about Anderson. I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about the player.
He doesn't drink. He doesn't drink. He's not that type of guy. Yes, he's had run-ins with the cops, but trust me, that's not something.
Well, listen, that's just the bottom line. You can't. He's had run-ins. He's had problems. These are the facts. But at the moment, he's not going to let go of the guys he has now for him. So for me, the top 5 guys are locked in. You're either going to have to.
He just called Braxton Berrios a punt returner in his press conference.
And yes,
Chosen Anderson's going to be behind a punt returner.
Yes, because he has a specialty.
Chosen Anderson and Braxton Berrios were on the same team, and Braxton Berrios didn't even make the team. Bro, trust me, there ain't no competition. And I like Braxton Berrios.
It's 2 different players.
No.
Yes. One's a slot receiver / returner. That's not what Anderson is. I got this
from a guy on Twitter. I think CK Parrott put it out there. Chosen Anderson's played over 1,000 snaps in the slot. 1,000.
No, I get that. I get it. Well, of course, because he's not really a frontline player. Really, that's he hasn't earned that kind of right.
He was
He's
a
gonna be
frontline player with the Jets. Don't be disrespectful. Don't be disrespectful. He killed the Dolphins for multiple games. Don't be disrespectful.
So,
Bro, 1,000-yard receiver with Teddy Bridgewater in Carolina. You act like that's easy to do in the NFL. It's not.
how many receivers were on that team?
I can't tell you the depth chart on that, but he was a frontline guy.
Yeah, they didn't have much there, bro. You got to throw to somebody. You got to throw to somebody. And that's 60 yards a game. 1,000 yards is.
Listen,
all right,
we're gonna come back to this just like we came back to the Mike Gesicki is a good fit for the Dolphins conversation multiple times over and over again.
Yeah, but Gesicki doesn't fit this guy's scheme. That's a whole different ball game.
Last year, you were like, "Oh, they'll make it work. They're gonna teach him how to block." Yeah.
I never said that they would teach him how to block. I never said that.
They were making it work. Okay.
I would never say that. Yeah, you should make. Well, he actually, the last month of the season, he actually tried to make it work, and you could have made it work. That's bad coaching by Mike McDaniel.
Are you kidding me?
No, it's terrible coaching by Mike McDaniel.
No, I am not changing my offense for Mike Gesicki. I'm not.
Well, see,
I'm not.
And that's where you're a bad coach.
Oh my God, Mike.
Hold on a second. So let me ask you something. So Shula ends up with no quarterback, so he's got Woodstock. What do you want him to do, bro? You got to work with it, right?
Ball game. That's a
totally different. It doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what it is. Okay, Eric Spoelstra. He's got a bunch of journeymen there, Whiteside and Deion Waiters.
The second most productive big play offense with the number one with Tua as a quarterback. Sixth.
You're not understanding me. You
want me to change it from Mike Gesicki?
Yeah, when you don't have the talent to do whatever it is you want to do as a coach, and whatever ingredients you have left, you still have to be a chef. You still have to make a meal.
Yeah, and he's going to play 400 snaps.
And so then you have to find. So somehow or another, he used Mike Gesicki in the last month of the season more than he did the rest of the year, and all Mike Gesicki did was make plays for him. Okay. Mike McDaniel, who I love as a coach, was irresponsible this year with the running game. At times when he had a chance to keep running, he chose not to. He made bad decisions at times. Not using Gesicki was a bad decision on his part.
He disagreed.
He had a playmaker there, and he refused to use him.
I am not putting Mike Gesicki on the field as a tight end. Maybe I put him on the field as a slot receiver, but I would rather Trent Sherfield.
Bro, I don't care if you call him a chef, a third wide receiver, a fourth wide receiver, a tight end. I don't care if you call him an H-back. The bottom line is he was a playmaker. Get him on the field to help you make plays. And that's what they did at the last month of the season. Huh?
And telegraph your offense.
Okay, well, whatever it is, if the guy can get open. Doesn't matter. I watched it with other quarterbacks that you knew they were throwing to Gesicki, and he still would make plays.
He made contested catches. Come on, Mike Gesicki wasn't getting open like that. Let's not. We'll see what the
Patriots. Catch is a catch, my man. I almost saw him catch 3 balls in one game with one hand. He caught 2 of them, almost brought down the third. I've never seen that in my life. And
great guy catching contested passes. I'd prefer a guy who gets.
He's a pass catcher. That's what he is.
Yeah, he is.
Well, then use him that way.
A glorified, tall, slow slot receiver. Yes,
and he was going to outjump most safeties and corners that try to cover.
Yes, yes, because he's only going to be covered by safeties. He's never going to be covered by a tight end, by a linebacker. Because the minute you put Gesicki on the field, I'm in my nickel package because I ain't got to defend the run. Right. So I'm not telegraphing my offense for Mike Gesicki.
I know it was terrible in that comeback against the Ravens when they telegraphed it right into the end zone.
They were playing hurry up. Yes, you put Mike Gesicki on the field when you were in a pass. I got a pass. Yes, pass situation.
I know it was so terrible watching that play. God, yeah, because everybody else on that team could catch the ball 15 feet in the air. Yeah,
okay, no, he could do that. No denying.
And who defends that? And who defends that?
I'm not changing my offense for that. Situational player. Mike McDaniel runs.
Omar, when you don't have the talent, you do adjust and change things.
They didn't have the talent enough to be the
if I have
best
George
offense in the
Kittle,
NFL without Mike Gesicki.
if I have George Kittle and Mike Gesicki is backing him up, then I get what you're saying. But if I don't have George Kittle and my most dynamic player at that position is Mike Gesicki,
you're saying that if Mike Gesicki's taking Durham Smites snaps, they would have had a better offense.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Bullshit.
For sure. The guy's a more dynamic player. He's faster. He can get downfield.
Bullshit. I defend you completely differently if Mike Gesicki's on the field.
Well, yeah, I know, because Durham
and then Tyreek ain't as open as he usually is.
I don't know. I don't know how many defenders you have that'll be 15 feet in the air with Mike Gesicki. So yeah, you can go ahead and cover me with whoever you want.
Fight this out a whole lifetime. This is ridiculous.
Burn every one of those guys.
Oh my God, that's why he got $6.5 million to sign with the Patriots.
You would have hated Dwight Clark.
No.
You would have hated Dwight Clark. He wasn't there to block, bro.
Don't do that. Different offense.
What? It's a pass-catching offense. Pass-catching tight end.
They ran the ball too. The 49ers ran the ball too.
That has nothing to do with Dwight Clark. That had to do with their 5 All-Pro linemen that they had there.
All right, you give me 5 All-Pro linemen. You can have Mike Gesicki as your starter.
Dwight Clark is not going to be blocking the hell out of people for the run game.
Mike Gesicki, it wasn't blocking the hell out of people. Mike Gesicki wasn't blocking.
Exactly.
I found where Mike Gesicki was actually blocking and did not take a major L was a victory.
I saw the Chargers back in the day run the ball plenty of times with Kellen Winslow Sr. And Kellen Winslow Sr. Kellen Winslow Sr. couldn't block a cold. Okay, he couldn't block a cold, but Kellen Winslow Sr. was a badass pass catcher. Okay.
I don't remember.
And they had this is before your time, but whether it was Natron memes or what was the other guy,
like the Hall of Fame, and you just compared him to Mike Gesicki.
I'm telling you, tight ends that didn't block,
bro. Guys who weren't good at blocking, maybe they didn't block often, but they still blocked. Mike Gesicki could not block, could not at all.
Those guys that I talked about right now weren't known for blocking at all either,
Weren't known.
They're known for pass
cannot do it. Okay? Weren't known for it is different than cannot do it. Mike Gesicki could not do it. We're gonna see. He's gonna have a dynamic season with the Patriots because Bill Belichick's such a great talent evaluator.
Well, for tight ends, he is actually. That's the only thing he picks right. He can't pick a wide receiver for his life, but man, he can get tight ends. He's had tight ends there throughout his entire time that have been serviceable.
Yeah, because
and excellent and Hall of Famers and murderers.
He said he reset the market on the last 2 tight ends he signed, and basically not to say that
they're good tight ends. It's not his fault, whatever. But those guys were all right. It's just they don't have great quarterbacks right now. They don't have Tom Brady anymore. But they've had tight ends they're pretty good at over there. They've done a pretty decent job, unearthing tight ends.
It's fair.
That's
fair. Yeah. Mike Gesicki's going to resurrect that career.
Well, I will say this. He will get balls there because he is a conservative quarterback. I'm talking about Mac Jones. Mac doesn't take a ton of chances. So he's probably going to throw a lot to the tight ends and the backs. And plus, by the way, they're not really loaded at wide receiver anyway.
Yeah, no. Mike Gesicki's a slot receiver for New England, so it'll be
whatever, bro.
Yeah, I know. You don't care. You don't care.
Whatever. It doesn't matter, man. Right. You're hung up on a position that there's only like 6 or 7 guys in the entire league that can actually block and pass catch at an elite level.
There's like 7 in this draft that can block.
Yeah, right. They're going to get one of those.
Yeah, for sure. That's another thing I took from the press conference.
For sure, they're going to get one of those here. They've been set. You have to get one of those here. You get them cheap for the next few years, and you get the guy that they want, which is a pass catcher and a blocker.
If you can get one of those guys, that means you're probably going to have to spend 51, and I think 51 might need to address offensive line there. The Austin Jackson endorsement, which was not a surprise to me, it's what you had to say because Austin Jackson's needed his confidence boosted. That was a takeaway. I thought the fact that they're going to try to trade Cedric Wilson and do what's right by him, that's a dead giveaway that they're going to trade him to a team that he probably wants to go to. So maybe they'll send him back to Dallas for a 7th round pick and pick up some of that salary. These are what my takeaways from the press conference yesterday were. I thought Greer was very adamant about telling you what he wanted you to know, which was, hey, we're thinking about moving up in the 1st round. Everybody in the NFL, which translation, everybody in the NFL, call me. Let me hear what those offers are.
That you believe that he ain't moving up in the 1st round.
Yeah, I know he ain't moving up, but he wants people to call him.
He just threw that out there. Yeah, we'll keep all our options.
No. He wanted to throw that out there. He wanted to throw that out there. Hey, I've gotten some calls about moving up. It's a weak draft. Everybody in the 20s wants to get out of there and pick up more picks or whatever, or future picks. He's letting you know, hey, I'd be willing to send you a future pick for your 1st rounder, which I think is not a bad idea if you got a Darnell Washington pegged in as an absolute monster who's going to help your offense.
Okay.
You trade next year's 1st for the 24th or 25th pick. It's not a bad route to go, but it's got to.
I can't argue with that.
It's got to definitely be a guy that you absolutely will stand on the table for. A top 25 talent in this draft.
I don't think he'll do it, but I can't argue with that suggestion.
Yeah, I don't think he'll do it either, but he wanted to let you know that he would do it. That's my point.
They kind of let you know that they leave all options open.
No. He didn't talk about. He didn't talk about. Yeah, I'll trade down and pick up extra picks. No, he said, I potentially want to get up. People have been calling me. So all you other GMs who might be thinking you want to get down, holla at your boy. Holla at me.
He didn't say it like that, bro.
Yes, he did. I'm translating. I'm a Greer translator, Big O. You ever seen, what was that? Key and Peele, the Obama translator? Greer was like, hey, you want to get down? It's a weak draft.
Dolphins. He's Fox Newsing it right now for you, okay?
Holla at your boy. Call me, man. Other people have offered me deals. Let me hear what you got to say. That's what he did. He did that, Big O. He was like, I'm glad you asked me because I want to talk about this.
By the way, I will say this about your boy. I was shocked that X, is healthy and he had no operations. Because I thought for sure that dude was getting operated on one of those groins because
it was his nut sacks, bro. What you gonna operate on your nuts for?
I don't know. I don't know. That's sports hernia or growing injury or whatever the hell happens down there. I don't know. He looked like a shell of himself. You could tell he was injured. Like it was so obvious. When he said he was healthy, I was like, wow, he didn't need any surgery. I was actually shocked that X didn't need surgery because he looked like he was hurting badly.
Hey, it's better the balls than the knee. So
yes. He hasn't had whatever treatment he got a few years back. They did good by him.
Cadaver put in it.
Yeah.
So he's good there. I didn't even know this because he did. I wasn't paying attention close enough, but he said he injured it week one ball. Then he injured the other ball week 2 because, compensate. And, boy, that's a recipe for disaster. You're trying to get shut. You probably should get shut down from that point.
That's why he couldn't move laterally at all. That's why they
but you kept having him shadow the best receiver?
Well, they had nobody. So it was just one of those where he was screwed. Bro, and then you're playing a lot of man like he was talking about on those groins. And
it don't make no sense, which is why Boyer had to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they didn't have a secondary at that point. X is out. X is half of what he is. Byron's out. Brandon's gone. Nick Needham's gone. Nobody was making up for that secondary, bro. Nobody. That defense was toast once that secondary went out. Watch that front seven now with Jalen and X healthy and that safety back there getting 8+ interceptions this year. You're going to see that front seven be nasty as hell. Now.
That would be ridiculous if he got 8.
But he's getting +8 this year. He doesn't have to play what's it called, chaperone this year and watch everybody, and he really didn't get to play his spot. Now he gets to attack because he has X and Jalen just taking each side out.
You know what? I gotta watch.
Those quarterbacks are going to have to work the middle of the field more, and he's going to eat, and he's going to eat a lot.
I am going to have to watch Vic Fangio's final season in Denver, or probably the last time he was a defensive coordinator, which would be Chicago.
Yeah, that's right. Because because he got the job.
I mean, he wasn't a defensive
when he went over to what's it called, Denver. He ended up becoming the coach. You're right.
Yeah, I'll probably have to watch Chicago to see how he calls games, because you're not going to really tell when he's a head coach. Like, yeah, it's going to be the shell of what he wants to run, but he's not the guy calling the plays. Because I'm curious to see what his approach will be, and especially he's probably going to have to alter it with the talent that he has. But no, I probably need to watch Denver because he's got Chubb there. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that'll be good. It's kind of one of those bend don't break defenses, and that's why they got the two corners, so they can just choke you and force you to be perfect all the way down the field.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think that the safety is headed for a monster year, because the two outside guys are going to eliminate the two top receivers. And so then the middle of the field is where a lot of the work is going to be done by quarterbacks, and you're going to play right into his hands. I'm telling you, he's going to have an all-pro year this year, not a Pro Bowl year, an all-pro year. Watch.
Probably, maybe. I don't know. Eight interceptions. That's a lot, though, bro. That's a lot.
Yeah. Well, they're going to have to. What are you going to do? Go after Jalen and X?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. He set it up perfect. They're setting it up where you got to work the middle of the field, because what are you going to do? You're going to go after X. If X is healthy, then he'll have a whole bunch of interceptions. And then Jalen, are you kidding me? And then with Jalen here, that also helps X too, because those two guys are going to motivate each other to be, freaking the best in the league. That's going to be a lot of fun watching those two guys. They're going to push each other more than even their competition pushes them. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch those two guys play. I mean, practice. How fun is practice going to be with Waddle and Hill and Ramsey and X?
I think X talked about that or something. I can't remember. I can't remember verbatim, but yeah, he talked.
Yeah, I remember. You're right. He did talk about that's going to be.
Yeah, they're all competitive dudes. Yeah, I mean, last camp, I mean, X really was spotting practice, and he'd go defend Tyreek and just that, and then he'd get off the field, which I don't disagree with, because I don't want X practicing either.
Right. But we're going to see some of it, and that alone is worth the price of the drive to camp for those fans out there, just to get to see that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And watching Tua, have to complete passes against those two guys with his two guys. That's going to be a lot of fun this year. All right, what do you got going on in Sports Illustrated? I know the video was released today. You and Poupart sparring.
We did the podcast breaking down the press conference and everything that was said. I've got a column up about Tua and how he should not have ever said what he said, for the reasons and why he's still playing, which is money. Let's not mistake this. This is money. He's not walking away from $100 million lottery ticket. Like, you're not. And also a breakdown of what's going on with the tight end position, which clearly seems to be the dead-on favorite for one of the top two selections, if not the motivator behind Miami moving up.
Yeah, no,
which tight end do you want again?
I already told you. Come on.
I can't remember. Kincaid?
Tucker? Kraft.
Oh, Kraft. Okay. I'm gonna look again.
Yeah. He might be there in the third.
Yeah, it was all right. It was third round. For me, right. And I've been asking a lot of people this. I've truly been asking a lot of people this. Which tight ends would you wager right now are going to have multiple Pro Bowl seasons in this draft class? Those are the guys I want. That's who I want. And it's just like this draft class of tight ends. Everybody has a different answer.
I know, but it all depends on where you land too. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and you know what? And it also depends on the player. Evan Ingram, poor guy. He was a sack of injuries with the Giants. Everybody knew it.
I'm just saying, not factoring in injury.
Everybody knew that Evan Ingram would be a hell of a player if he could actually stay healthy. Guess what happened?
And I asked that question because I like Musgrave.
Right, but he figured it out in Jacksonville, and he had himself a Pro Bowl season in Jacksonville. He could never do that with the Giants.
He's still not a good. It's not a blocker, which is why they still probably have to address the tight end position. Stop it. You need to block, Big O. You need to damn well block.
There's only a couple of those guys, Omar. There's not
32 of your job, Big O. 2/3 of your job at tight end.
They don't grow on trees, bro.
2/3 of your job, Big O.
I get it. I get it, but most of the league doesn't have one, Omar.
I don't care. Go get one. 2/3 of your job at the position, Big O.
Hey, listen, for 20 plus years, I've wanted them to get a quarterback, and they've, hey, finally they got one,
so competition.
Just happens, bro.
Put your name on a Pro Bowl tight end. Tell me the guy who's going to have 2 Pro Bowl seasons.
Oh, I like Washington to have 2 Pro Bowl seasons because he's such a beast.
Oh, fucking monster. He's a monster.
Yeah, he's a monster.
He's slow, even though he times fast.
You don't have to be really fast. You just have to have body control. You got to know how to use your body against the defender.
You got to have acceleration. You got to have to in those tight spaces. You got to be able to move fast, quickly to create the window for the quarterback to throw. And he can't just be a lumbering downfield big target. Now I'm fine with that if he's going to be a blocker.
Well, you can be a lumbering target if you know how to separate your body from the defender and the ball. Yeah, if you know how to work that, then you'll be fine. You know what I'm saying? Because there are guys that aren't necessarily the fastest in the world, but they know how to get. Hey, Gronk lost his speed in the last couple of years, but he still found
get open.
Right, he still found ways to get open and get his body in between the defender and the ball, so he can get separation and use his size to his advantage. And that's what Darnell's going to do. He's going to use his size to his advantage, bro. Ben Coates wasn't fast, but you weren't going to get around Ben Coates because he was 6'7". You just can't get around that kind of shit. Now he was your kind of guy because he could also block.
That's a good comparison. I didn't even think about that. Ben Coates is a good comparison for him. I like him. I think he fits here.
He's Ben Coates.
He's just not going to be a weapon. I'm throwing to him maybe 20 times a season.
To Darnell? To Darnell, you said?
Yeah.
Darnell? Yeah. 20 times in a season?
Maybe 30. I'm not.
You can't draft him that high and not throw him the ball, bro.
Bro, that guy is going to maul people as a blocker.
No, I know, but you got to throw him the ball, bro.
Sometimes, maybe.
20, 30, that's like 2 passes a game.
Bro, that's what. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm lying. That's Mike Gesicki got 50 targets, right?
That's because they didn't use him. That's not his fault. I mean, they didn't use him. They didn't want him around. I mean, it's like the GM says, hey, let's try him. And the coach said, okay, I'll try him. And then he never tried him.
He did try him. He didn't like him, bro. Gesicki never fit.
No, he's dead set on his ways. No. McDaniel's dead set on his ways. He is like you in that sense.
He's not stubborn.
He's stubborn.
Bro, they put him out there in training camp and they saw that he was such a liability as a pass blocker. They're like, all right, nah, we're not doing that.
Really? Did you need that to find that out? Because I didn't need that. I knew what he was. Just use him for what he is. Don't try to make him what he's not, bro.
Yeah. I'm trying to look up how many.
Don't try to make me the host for News World Tonight, bro. That's not gonna work.
You know how many targets Durham Smythe got last season? 20.
More.
20.
Oh, look at that. Wow. Because you know what? The year before, Flo used him more than.
Oh yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
He played like 700 snaps the year before. 41 targets, 34 receptions. Durham can get it done.
Oh, he's a solid player. No, he's a solid player. He's a perfect number 2. Perfect.
Yes.
Number. Perfect.
Now, do I add Darnell Washington as a number 1 and then make him a pass catching tight end?
Well, the Penn State kid's pretty good too, by the way. He's got some ability. The other guy that I like is
Darren Strange. Yep.
Yeah, strange. But the other guy that I like is who's a pretty good pass catcher. Now I'm brain farting.
Braylon Wilson? No, Willis.
No, give me another name.
Luke Schoonermaker.
Oh,
The NFL top evaluator, he says that the Dolphins are obsessed with Luke Schoonermaker from Michigan, which makes sense, Brian. I mean, Steve Ross, Steve Ross loves him, a Michigan man. So it'll be interesting to see what they do there. I don't think they're going to use 51 there, but I'm sure they're fine with whatever they can settle on 84.
I'm trying to go to the damn. Oh, here it is. Jesus, went to the
I
wrong
like
one.
Musgrave. Nobody likes Musgrave.
Why am I brain fart? Laporta.
Yeah, Laporta. I didn't know you were talking about him. Yeah,
that's who I brain fart. Laporta. The Laporta kid is also
he fit in well here, and he fit well.
Very intriguing. Yeah, very intriguing. The Laporta.
I just don't see that. I don't see that top.
Those two guys that I like, Kraft and Laporta, are probably the guys that you could probably get right around the 3rd round.
Oh, Laporta's not going to be there in the 3rd round.
You think he's at 51 or gone, right?
Yeah, he's 51 or gone.
Yeah,
and there's a chance, and that's what Daniel Jeremiah said. There's a chance Darnell Washington will be there at 51.
Oh no, I don't think so.
I think so. I think so. He doesn't move well.
I know, but he blocks so well.
I know
that they always. It's like Smythe.
I would make him a right tackle. I saw that transition with Eric Winston. I would make him a right tackle.
But it's like Smythe, that when you got him, he was more of a blocker than a pass catcher, and then you developed him. And I think that's what's going to happen with Darnell. They're going to want to, because everything else is so dominant. Okay, we'll make him a better pass catcher, and then we have ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, and the speed is there. He runs a 4.64 at the combine, which blew my mind because I watched his film and I was like, "Holy crap!
How do you get around that body?
Huh?
How do you get around that body downfield if you're a DB or something? You're not going to be able to, bro."
Yeah,
I'm telling you, those big kind of guys like Ben Coates, like that, they're impossible to cover.
That's a phenomenal example. I wonder where Ben Coates was drafted because that's a phenomenal example.
I want to say 2nd round. I want to say Ben Coates was a 2nd rounder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look it up for me there, Sean. I want to say Ben Coates was a 2nd rounder.
That is a I have not heard that comparison, and that is such a phenomenal comparison.
Now, Ben Coates was a better from the 5th round. Wow, 5th round. Now, Ben Coates from the get-go was better than Darnell as a pass catcher.
6'5", 245. So
from the get-go, okay, Ben Coates was already more polished than this kid coming out of college.
Who was the with the Chargers, the tight end there that was former basketball player was who?
Oh, Gates.
Yeah.
Now that's a whole different athlete there.
Yeah, that's a whole different athlete.
Yeah. And by the way, he wasn't a blocker either.
Antonio. I know.
Okay.
Woo! Antonio Gates ran a 4.55.
Yeah. Well, he's a basketball player. He was a basketball player. He was a hell of a. Now he got thicker as he got older.
He's only 6'4".
Yeah, he got thicker as he got older, but when he was young and skinny and he could fly, dude.
Yeah,
that was a hell of a player, bro. Wow, what a great tight end Antonio Gates was.
Jimmy Graham ran a 4.56 and Jason Witten ran a 4.65. So this guy is faster than Jason Witten, which is mind blowing. Which I mean, we're talking about a split second. I'm intrigued by Darnell Washington. I think there's a possibility he'll be there at 51, and if he is, I'm snatching him up because
they'll snatch him up because they can park him on the right side anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I'm parking him right there.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you with what he is and what could improve. And on the tackle thing, what can I do? These guys, they like Jackson and Eichenberg, bro. That's what in that building, they like those guys. Mm-hmm. They truly believe in them. The rest of us, we have not been convinced by them.
You know what I remember, and you might have been there. I know you got to go, but I remember vividly. This is the first time I lost confidence in Austin Jackson. It was a Brian Flores practice training camp. They were running a scrimmage. Austin Jackson had just gotten beat by, if you give me time, I might remember the pass rusher, and he allowed Tua to get pressure. And Tua went to the sidelines and got in Austin Jackson's face and gave him the business. And I don't know if you were there. You probably were there.
I wasn't there. I wasn't there for that day, no.
It was a scrimmage, so I swear to God you were there. But
maybe. I don't know.
I made a big deal about it because it was the first time I'd ever seen Tua get in anybody's face.
Oh, you know what? I think I remember that now.
And we probably were sitting together, and I was like, "Did you see that?" And that was the first moment where I said, "Okay, I don't believe in this guy." And then we went to the joint practices in Chicago, and he got his ass handed to him by everybody on that Bears team. And I was like, I'm done. I'm out. This line ain't going to do it. And then they went to this, then they realized, this line ain't going to do it. And they started adding reinforcements. And then we had the season that we had. But yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
I don't know about us.
And that's what I tell everybody in that building. They believe in those two guys. They truly believe in those two guys, where most of us don't, because they have so far. Jackson and Eichenberg haven't done anything to convince.
Jackson had a very strong beginning to his rookie season before.
I thought we were going to talk about camp. He actually started well last year. Camp.
His rookie season, he had a very good run before he suffered the knee injury.
Okay.
And then he came back from that and COVID and was never the same. I don't know. I don't know what to think. I'm bigger on Liam Eichenberg than I am on Austin Jackson.
Right. We have to defer to them because they're the offensive line experts. So there must be something that they like about
calling them offensive.
I don't know what it is, but because they have made no moves, none whatsoever, which is just baffling as hell. But again, it's consistent with what I keep hearing from the damn building.
There's so many break in case of emergency right tackles that are out there that they can eventually, in week 2 of training camp, go call these veterans who are not trying to participate in training camp. The Dewan James, the Eric Fishers, the Taylor Lewans. Like, you could have Taylor Lewan to this team right now for $4 million and patch up that right tackle spot. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and if you get into a bar fight, you're set with Taylor. He's good at those things. All right, follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly and catch his work there at Sports Illustrated, and catch him every week here on Wednesdays with the EssentialMovingExperts.com Miami Dolphins Exchange. As always, thank you, my friend. We'll catch up next week. Thank you. Got it. There you go. Omar Kelly, the Essential Moving Experts, Miami Dolphins Exchange.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.